Welcome back, guys. This is Psyche Wolf here, and we are playing Apollo Justice Trilogy. So, today we're going to be playing the third case again, and we're doing the trial 1. Not yesterday. 2 days ago we did the investigation, and now we're heading off to the trial to do some lawyer things. I don't know what you do. To object and to hold it and to take that. Right, let's get started without further delay because I tend to ramble. Who's excited for the trial? I prefer the trials much more than the investigations, especially in this one. Bonk. Okay.
Court is now in session 4. How do I say that?
Mati Tabaye, Your Honor, the pixie of the arpeggio.
Right, his trial. Court is in session.
Oh, right, his trial. The defense is ready, Your Honor. The prosecution is A-OK, Herr Judge.
Very well, Prosecutor Gavin.
Where's my drink before I fucking die voicing this old man? My opening statement, ja?
No, actually, there was something else I wanted to ask you about.
Yes?
Say, you're going to visit someone in the hospital with an incurable disease. What do you say to them? I mean, you wouldn't take it well soon, right? You're going to be kicking them when they're down.
What are you talking about?
Well, actually, I'm going to visit someone who's terminally ill. Right after this trial, the Chief Justice's son.
The Chief Justice? My son is Justice! I love justice!
His son is afflicted with the most terrible disease. He doesn't have long, it seems. So I thought I'd go pay him a visit. I thought saying something moving might be the order of the day.
Why don't grown-ups ever just say what's on their mind instead of pretending? She's looking at me like with something like disgust. Hey, what are you looking at me like that for?
In any case, I'm a bit busy today, so let's wrap this up quickly. Prosecutor Gavin, your opening statement briefly.
You're in luck here, Judge. I believe you'll be going on your hospital visit sooner than you think. No, the fuck he ain't. First, review the victim in this case. Romain Latouche, age 35. The global manager for Diva Songstress Lemoir. The cause of death, blood loss due to being shot by a large caliber revolver. This report has all the details.
The court accepts into evidence.
Latouche's autopsy report added to the court record. Yay!
45 caliber, that's quite large, isn't it? A direct hit from that could knock a man off his feet.
It did. However, the bullet struck him in his shoulder. The damage to the body was slight. Death was not immediate. Sadly, his blood loss was such that he could not be saved.
I suppose the victim's condition could have been much worse considering.
I mean, I'd rather die instantly if I'm going to get shot, so I'm not going to feel it and sit there suffering. 2 shots were fired. 1 shot missed, the other penetrated and passed through the victim's shoulder. Both bullets were found in the wall at the scene. Observe the diagram. This is where the bullets hit.
I see. The court accepts this evidence. If we're talking about a 45 caliber revolver, we must assume that the killer was adept at the weapon's use.
Really? Yeah, we already went over this, truthfully. Yeah, apparently weapons that size have a powerful kickback. If, say, the judge tried to fire one, it'd break every bone in his body.
The defense will take more care in choosing examples.
As I was saying, the victim was shot backstage in a dressing room. This dressing room has only one entrance, this door.
That does seem to be the case, yes.
However, there was witnesses who heard the gunshots. He's talking about you and Emma, huh? Yet when the witness entered the room, it was empty, save for the victim's body, of course.
But that's impossible!
I'm smashing up this wall! Exactly, the murder was impossible. For all but one person.
One person?
That is, of course,
that child.
The defendant, Mati Tabaye.
Only the defendant could have committed the crime. But how?
It's quite simple. Oh, I forgot his voice for a sec. It's quite simple. The circumstances of the crime scene make it clear. Okay. Says you.
Very well, I assume you have testimony to back up this claim. Please show the witness the stand. To the stand. Don't show him the stand, show him to it.
Oh my god, is it Emma? Your name and profession, please. Emma Skye, I'm a detective for the police department. I was on security detail at the concert forum that night. Emma seems tired somehow.
Security at the concert, you say?
Some security I was, couldn't even stop a murder.
Now, don't blame yourself, things like this happen. I've made even bigger mistakes in my career, you know.
I'm sure that makes her feel much better. I want to hear about these bigger mistakes. In any case, because you were on security detail, the crime was quickly discovered, and we were able to identify the killer. You may give the court your testimony if you would. Describe the circumstances of that day and your discovery of the crime. And your discovery of the crime, please. Alright. Sorry for the word vomit. It's not easy, you know, reading. The night of the murder, I was on security backstage at Prosecutor Gavin's request. Only people involved at the concert in some way were allowed backstage. At the beginning of the third set, I heard shots. I went into the room filled with blaring rock music and found the body. I examined the scene and determined that only the defendant could have done it.
It was lucky.
My voice for him isn't. Whoo!
It was lucky that
The defendant. It was lucky that a defendant was the first on the scene. No.
It was lucky that the detective was the first on the scene.
But that door's the only way out of the room, right? Yeah, pretty much. Then I don't get it. How can they say Muddy did it? Looks like we need a bit more information.
Very well, the defense may begin the cross-examination.
We know why she's going to say he did it, because there's a vent and it's small and only someone like Tracy could have done it. Tracy sighs. During the murder, only people involved with this concert in some way were cut out backstage. At the beginning of the first set, I heard shots. I don't know why I'm doing that, I'm sorry. I went into the room and I found the body. I examined the scene. I'm so sorry. I examined the scene and determined that only the defendant could have done it. Let's press her. Hold it! How could you know something like that? As I said, it was clear from the circumstances. Listen, we know that there was only one exit from the room, that door. The small window only opened a tiny crack. And I was standing in front of that door. So, how could the killer have fled the scene? There's only one possibility, the air vent. Objection! But that air vent was too small. Who could possibly... Exactly. Why they talking like this wasn't already discussed, I don't know. But anyway. There's certainly no way you could get through, nor me. So you're innocent, Apollo. Well done. The only one who could fit was a child. A child? Remember, access to those rooms was limited. Only those involved at the concert were allowed. And of all the people involved with the concert, only one is small enough to be considered a child. One is a child, he's 14, I'm pretty sure. Is he 14? What are you talking about, Clavier?
The defendant?
No, he's 14. The pixie of the arpeggio flitted up towards the sky and disappeared from the scene of the crime. But that's just conjecture. Oh, there was no other way out of that room. You were there. You should know her forehead. So, just because there was no other way doesn't mean he suddenly did it. Does that mean the baby did it? Like, bro. And there's another vital piece of evidence. Oh, okay, never mind. Oops, I skipped what he said. Evidence? What? Marks that were found on the air vent grill. Traces that had been recently opened. Wait, what? And something else was found quite clearly. The defendant managed to buy his fingerprints. Oh, okay. What? That means it was him! Apollo's like, shit. Maybe I shouldn't have took this one.
Order!
Smash out the wall. That air vent was the only way out of that room. The defendant's fingerprints were found on the grill. Well, Herr Forehead, what fairy tale does this suggest to you? Ark? Only one could pass through that vent, that doorway to heaven. And that one is our Pixie. Why are you looking at me, Apollo? Hey, I was out whooping it up in the audience. Apollo's like I'm pinned on Trucy. So this was his decisive evidence.
Quite decisive indeed.
I know the circumstances under which the body was found. I was there. An examination of the crime scene was enough to nail down the killer. I'm sure they have a good reason. They must have had a good reason to arrest Mushy. We just discussed what the good reason was. What do you mean you're going to find out? What are you... Apollo, don't stress me out. Do I have to press for more info? I guess, okay. Sorry guys, that was a bit crazy. I don't remember I was on that stage, only people involved in the concert were loud. At the beginning of the set, I had shots. I believe we were having a chat when we heard the shots. You were the one chatting. I was eating snackies.
Oh, hey, no snacking in court.
And you're sure these shots came from Lemoire's room? Yes, absolutely. Hey, I'm the one being cross-examined here. Here, this will keep you quiet. Ka-dunk. Ah, thanks. So, how about it, Emma? We were right there. Hard to be mistaken about that.
Please, either talk or eat, not both at the same time.
Right, so after that, me and Mr. Lawyer there opened the dressing room door. Damn, I did all that chewing. Just for that, okay. Rock? Blaring, yes.
When you say rock, are you referring perhaps to this rock and roll music that is so popular these days?
That's right, when we went into the dressing room. Music was blaring over a speaker on the wall. They piped sound from the stage into the backstage through the speakers. That way people in the back can... Wait, did I just read Apollo? Okay, I meant... Okay. That was Emma, not Apollo, sorry. That way people in the back can hear when they're supposed to be on stage. Did it have to be so loud? You don't listen to the Gavinies with your ears. You feel it with your entire body and soul. I always have backstage monitors at full volume. When we walked into the room, the band was playing Guilty Love, I believe, making it easy to determine the time of the crime.
If you could hear that music playing.
And everyone on stage for that song had an alibi, including myself. No one asked. Anyway, I closed off the scene and started my investigation. Okay, I guess I have to press everything, because... The night of the murder was the night of this concert, yes? That's right. What was a detective doing on security detail, might I ask? You already know, Apollo. If it was only a concert. My thoughts exactly... Oh, we don't know. Okay, no, I tried. Liars. But orders are orders, even when they come from rock guards. Prosecutor Gavin. Yes, allow me to explain. I smelled something that day, you might say the stench of conspiracy. That day at the concert hall. So you knew the murder wasn't... Conspiracy? Well, isn't it obvious? My keys, that whole morning, no, the whole day was ruined. It's all because someone stole my keys. I could have ran my hog to the show, I could have opened my guitar case. There he goes again. Isn't it possible he simply misplaced them? Misplaced them? Misplaced items don't just wander into a murder victim's hands on their own.
What's this? Prosecutor Gavin, if your keys were in the victim's hand, that makes you a prime suspect.
I love that reaction. He's just like, brrr! Love, slow acting in you, atrocan. Ooh, atroquinone. Okay, is waiting for you. He's singing something. Does everything with this guy have to be so over the top? Over the top? The killing happened in the middle of my concert. I was like a sailor adrift on a sea of sound. Anyway, I didn't want anything else stolen, so I put the detective with the most time on their hands on the task.
I see, I can accept that.
Well, I can't. What do you mean, that time on their hands?
I believe that's enough of that.
I didn't press all the statements.
The prosecution has a rather convincing case. The only way in and out of the crime scene was watched, making the defendant the only one who could possibly leave the scene. Simple and decisive.
Ugh.
I believe we've heard enough to determine our verdict. Goodbye.
You are the weakest link. Goodbye.
Even if I wasn't in a hurry to make a hospital visit,
I'm sure the Chief Justice would appreciate the gesture. Unfortunately, we have no direct witnesses. Fortunately, the criminal left decisive evidence. Enough. Whoa. That will have to be enough. Ah, it can't be over already.
Very well, I believe this trial's finished. If the defense has no contradicting evidence...
The prosecution presented our proof clear and plain. If you have contradicting evidence, it better be clear and plain. Apollo, they've got us on the ropes already. We better come up with something quick. I know. Think, what can get us out of this? We need evidence or a witness that can prove Machi is innocent beyond all doubt. Without that,
Mr. Justice, do you have contradicting proof that can overturn the prosecution's case? If you do, you'd better tell us about it now.
This is it, and so soon. If I mess this one up, it's all over. The court wants contradicting proof? I don't have proof. I want to call a witness. Prosecutor Gavin, you claim that there were no witnesses to this crime. Are you absolutely sure? Absolutely, I'd swear it on my career as a prosecutor. And on my million-seller hit song, Atrocanine My Love. There he goes again. That's too bad, because there was a witness.
Ho ho, really now? But how did you come to possess knowledge of the prosecution clearly does not?
Because I'm the only one in the world who knows this! Okay, I wouldn't go that far, Apollo. What's going on? I just took... Oh. That's what he means, but we spoke to her in front of Trucy, so... He's alive! Mr. Latouche, can you hear me? Cold, so cold. Witness. You're cold? I'll get a blanket. Can't see. Hang in there, Mr. Latouche. Tell me, who was the witness? The witness is Siren.
What? The victim said this before he died?
Perhaps he did, and perhaps he did not. What do you mean by that? All we know is what her forehead says he said. There's no testimony, especially since it comes from the defense attorney himself. But it's the truth! He said it! I even told you about it! But apparently you ignored me completely! It's my policy to fully investigate everything I deem relevant. Clearly this rookie lawyer thinks he can tell me how to do my job. Damn.
That's enough! Mr. Justice, we need clear contradictory proof from you. This witness of yours, unknown to the prosecution, I hope you're right. Failure carries a stiff penalty.
Perhaps a stiffer penalty than unusual is called for. There's no backing out now.
Let's hear the name of your witness, Mr. Justice.
It's Blue Lady. She's 40? Oh my god. Payback!
Lamoire.
Recall Mr. Latouche's last words that I totally made up. I'm joking. Do it! Oh, not again!
The siren? Aha! He meant the siren!
That's right. The siren of the ballad, Lamoire. Lamoire was only on stage for the second set. And she had access to the backstage area. She could have been a witness.
I see. Well, Prosecutor Gavin.
My claim still stands. There was no witness to this crime.
Very well, you're a fool. Let's hear it from the horse's mouth then, shall we? We will now take a break from Detective Emma Sky's cross-examination. Please show Lamoire to the witness stand.
Lamoire would say nothing the night of the murder. Not today, though. Today we'll drag that story out of her no matter what it is. Apollo, do you know who you're talking to? It is my distinct honor to welcome Siren of the Ballad to our courtroom. You are too kind. I forgot her voice, sorry.
Ah, you can speak English?
Yes, I can. Though I'm not very good, there is much I do not know.
You speak so well. Have you spent time here before?
Actually, I do not know how I came by my knowledge of your language, nor where I studied it. What does she mean she doesn't know? I too thought to call her as a witness, but I did not. Why do I always do a weird accent? I too thought to call her as a witness, but I did not. I had a reason, of course. What's that? Lamoire suffers from amnesia.
Amnesia?
Lamoire is not my true name, yet I remember nothing of the time before I was given it. Nothing of the time before I started singing on stage. Whoa, she's even more mysterious than I thought! As lauded singer Lamoire, she lives a good life. There are little difficulties for her thanks to her success. Yet, I did not wish to subject her to unnecessary stress.
I see. I care surprisingly little about people's pasts. You have nothing to fear in this court, Lamoire.
Thank you. Yet, there is something I do not understand. I am being called as a witness. What might I say? No one will tell me anything of what happened. Lamoire, let me be frank. I did not want to ask you up here to testify. Yet that young gentleman with the wide forehead over there was adamant that you stand. Oh my. Congratulations, Apollo, you're the bad guy. Ugh.
Well, now that you're here, give us your testimony. Please. If nothing else, the sound of your voice is welcome.
Bit weird.
Tell us what you saw and see a night of the crime, and please sing it.
I saw nothing. As for what I saw nothing. That night I was invited to sing on stage, and this I did. I did not return backstage after the second set. Then I was led by the police to Mr. Cabin's dressing room, and told to wait there. That was when I learned that something had happened, but I wasn't told the details.
I must say you sound wonderful, just testifying.
Thank you. I hope he was too distracted to hear what she was actually saying. There you have it, she saw nothing that night. Now we can only pray that the defense has the sense to admit defeat, and refrain from detaining her here longer than need be. Wow, you just got better, Apollo, way to go!
Very well, Mr. Justice, keep it short and sweet.
Lamoire wouldn't talk to me the night of the crime. She must know something, and I've gotta find out what. What do you know, Lamoire? She saw nothing. That's fine. But you must have seen something. Mr. Latouche named you. Mr. Latouche? How can I tell you what I don't know? Lamoire, he said you were a witness with his dying words. I do not know what he meant to say, but that night I was invited to sing on stage and decided to... It was a great concert. You heard me sing? Thank you. I was hoping to get an autograph later, actually. Of course.
Mr. Justice, if there's a course examination, you're out of line. If anyone deserves an autograph here, it's me. One on my gavel would be nice. Head Judge. What's this?
It's my autograph. Now keep this trial moving.
What? Oh, my grandchild will be so happy.
Apparently his grandson is a big fan. Let us continue, shall we? If you would, Lamoire, tell us what you did after your stellar performance. I did not return backstage after the second set. You did not return backstage once. When were you? Where were you then? What were you doing? I was cleaning up on stage. There are many things I must do for a performance other than simply sing. And was Machi with you at the time? Unfortunately, I do not know where he was. So much for an alibi for Machi. With Machi, correct? How was he then? He seemed as he always does. Though I believe he was shocked by the news of Mr. Latouche's death. Yet, he was not the type to show much emotion. Yes, he's given the police no end of headaches. He answers most questions with silence, and those glinting frames speak nothing. The questioning hasn't gone very far. We sat there waiting. How was the incident explained to you? I was told nothing in detail, only that Mr. Latouche died.
Of course, investigations require some security.
But Mr. Latouche was my manager. I wanted to know more. I should have been told. Both Mochi and I were beside ourselves with concern. Allow me to apologize, but please understand. Keeping you in the dark was as painful for me as it was for you. Yes, I understand. Think, what doesn't ring true about her testimony? It's hard to imagine Namor lying. She might not be lying, but she's hiding something. What wouldn't she tell me the night of the murder? Oh, okay, I guess I have to press something. Oh, yeah. Is it this? Objection! I didn't need to press all those statements. I'm sorry, Lamar, but I'm having trouble believing you. Do you remember this brooch, do you not? Why, that's Lamar. She was wearing it for her song. Care to add that to the testimony, Prosecutor Gavin? What? This brooch was found after the murder took place, at the very scene of the crime. What? Lamar, how did your brooch get to the backstage if you did not go there yourself? And, as Prosecutor Gavin just told us, you had been wearing it during your performance that night.
What is the meaning of this? Lamar, please explain.
Lamar? She says English is quite difficult. That trick's not gonna work here. Go question mark, man. Waves. Other things. Your forehead may be large, but you are a lawyer truly. But you have missed one important fact. What now? In fact, at the time of the incident, I went backstage, but only for a moment. What? Think back to the moment of the crime. You know whereof I speak. Is she really saying all that? What's she talking about, Apollo? Right when the incident occurred. Ah! Is she talking about that? What's this room for me? I have to call for backup. Oh, right, understood. You want me to make sure no one comes in, right? Mr. Latouche, can you hear me? Cold, so cold. Oh my god, not again! I'll grab a blanket. Can they stop with the freaking flashbacks? I know what he said. We know what he said. Yikes, Emma, what was that? Who's there? What's wrong? Emma, did you see anyone just now? Oh. I could sworn I heard the door close. I looked into the room, just a glance, mind you. So this was when your brooch dropped? That explains that. It does. Oh my god. It does. There was no other time I could have dropped it. But that's ridiculous. You only looked in for an instant, but you dropped your brooch? Her forehead. She has raised the possibility. The only thing that can counter that is evidence.
So she looked in at the crime scene.
Actually, I intended to go into the dressing room. I knew nothing of what had happened, of course. But the moment I opened the door, I heard a horrible voice. Her forehead shouting, "Who's there?" No doubt. A horrible voice indeed. Ugh. I closed the door immediately.
Well, that explains the brooch. Let's return to your testimony.
That's too convenient. She's hiding something. Lamar, you did look into the room, right? Yes. Testify as to what you saw. Very well, though it was only the briefest of glimpses. When my performance was finished, I just went backstage for a moment.
Perceive.
I saw it! I saw it! I saw it! Go back! Sorry, I was so intently focused, I felt like Apollo for a second. I didn't even speak. I saw her gulping. You gulping girl.
Gotcha!
Gotcha! Oh, I've got messages. Nothing interesting. Okay. Ooh. The late Mr. Latuse's body, you say? Yes. You know something more about Mr. Latuse's death than you are saying. What? I can see you trying not to remember, but the effort made you swallow. You can't fool my eyes. Ah. It is true. It was so terrible after all. Why did Mr. Latouche have to be shot? One moment, Lamour. Yes? What was that you just said? Why did Mr. Latouche have to be shot? Yes? She was hiding something, I knew it. Lamour, I'm afraid you haven't realised it, but your words just now contradict your testimony. Eh? How could that be? Take this! Lamour contradicted her own testimony and I have the evidence to prove it. Oh, I do. I mean, she said she saw nothing. Oh, no one's allowed to know. Tell me, Lamour, how did you know he had been shot? Eh? Well, Immediately following the incident, a gag order was placed on the scene. This is a document proving that. In your testimony, you told the court, no one told me anything about the incident. Furthermore, you testified that you'd seen nothing. Yet you knew that Mr. Latouche had been shot. How could you have known? York! York?
Lamour, you aren't hiding something from this court, I hope.
That sweet song of hers was sounding a little too sweet. Now I remember. Please, allow me to add this to my testimony. Of course. All we want to know is the truth. She looks kind of pale, huh? She saw something, I know it. Even the victim said so. I thought it was going to frickin' flashback again. I saw bullet holes in the wall and knew Mr. Latouche had been shot. Only a glimpse, yet you knew they were bullet holes? Yes, I recognized them immediately. I have seen bullet holes before, you know. You have traveled the world as a singer. You must have sung in places far more dangerous than our country. I go wherever my voice is needed. Those places are many these days. That's really cool. I hope I get to travel like Lamour someday. I plan on recording my next album overseas. Their studios have a different sound, you know. Maybe I should go on and cause a still tour too. No. Let's think about the bullet holes. I mean, how would she have seen them? You fucking lying? Lamour, they call you the siren of the ballad, but lions are hardly becoming of such a creature.
Put down worthy of our prosecutor, Mr. Justice.
Such put-downs are hardly becoming of you, Apollo. Stop polishing your forehead and start polishing your character, Ja. Come on, can I be cool for once? Observe the diagram. Lamour, you looked in front... Lamour, you looked in from the door for just a moment. Correct? Yes, that is so. There were bullet holes in the room, yes. But they were in the wall the door is on. Eh? You see, assuming you merely glanced into the room, you couldn't have seen those bullet holes. Yark!
Lamour.
Yes?
I'm afraid the defense has raised a good point. It appears you have been holding back something.
And I must tell you? I must tell you what it is I saw?
Yes. The happenings in this trial are being recorded, and I'm certain this will be on news in Virginia. You understand your reputation is at stake. It falls to you to avoid tarnishing it.
Personally speaking, I still believe that cross-examining her will yield us absolutely nothing. But she knew how Mr. Latouche died, and he named her as a witness. You must have seen something, Lamoire.
Very well. Lamoire, please continue your testimony.
Very well, I shall. Is it a new one? Okay. I was on my way from the stage on the backstage exit. There was something like a little window there. That's how I saw it. There were 2 shots. I couldn't do anything to stop it. But it wasn't Mochi. It was a grown person. I know it was.
So you did witness the crime. And the killer was a grown person, you say?
This is my first time hearing this, I assure you. Nice play, Herr Forehead.
Very well, Mr. Justice. You may begin your cross-examination.
Great going, Apollo. You were right about Lamoire. What's wrong? You don't look too happy. This whole thing smells fishy. That's what's wrong. 40 minutes into the stream. I was on my way from the station. Looks like a little window there. Do I have anything about the window? Because I'm kind of suspicious of that window. Where is the window? I'm assuming it's by the body and everything. You can't come out and testimony that. Right, apparently there's a critical flaw that I've got to point out, and it isn't good for my case. I'm so confused. New try Preston. A grown person? That's a little vague. I am sorry. Oh shit. My skill of your language is lacking, I know.
Certainly, you could at least see whether the shooter was male or female.
It was a man, a young man.
And you're sure of that?
Yes, his voice was quite clear. Voice?
Looking at this diagram, it seems the dressing room is quite cluttered. It does seem likely that you wouldn't have had a clear view of the shooter.
As a singer, I rely more on my ears than my eyes. When I hear a voice, I do not forget it. That voice was the voice of a man. So you heard a voice, but wait. Couldn't that have been the victim, Mr. Latouche? Absolutely not. Did I not just say I do not forget a voice? If it was Mr. Latouche who spoke, I would have known.
Indeed. So you're at the window and you heard a strange voice, the voice of a young man.
Apollo, this is a good testimony. That proves it wasn't Mochi.
Indeed. If this turns out to be true, it would cast the case in a considerably different light. What is the defense opinions on this testimony?
It's contradictory. Though it pains me to say this, there's something about Lamoire's testimony that rings false. Bravo, her forehead. You're colder than I thought. I'm sure you remember what the problem is as well as I do, Gavin. As has been established, no grown man could pass through that air vent. He couldn't have fled the scene of the crime. But that means Lamoire has to be lying. I know, and I know it's bad for our case, but I can't shut my eyes to this. Believe me, the idea was tempting. It is as Herr Forehead says. Yet this is not the only contradiction within her testimony. What next? What's he talking about? Lamour, I understand why you would want to protect Machi. Yet remember, you are the siren of the ballad. And lies do not become such a creature.
What does the prosecution mean?
Apollo, what's he talking about? How come no one bats an eye when he says stuff like that? He literally said the same thing as Apollo. I recall the state of the crime scene quite well. The state of the room? Yes, and when the murder took place. That window was closed. I find it hard to believe you could have heard a voice through it. What? But I'm sure. Lamour, I have nothing but the highest regard for your musical sense. But my opinion of you as a witness is somewhat lesser.
Objection!
But he's the only eyewitness we have.
Objection!
So you say. And the victim named her the siren as the witness? That's right, that's what Mr. Latouche... We heard your claim, we even entertained the possibility, and it brought us to this. Herr Judge.
Yes? The prosecution?
Oh, the prosecution requests that this witness be excused. Please?
I'm afraid I must honour the prosecution's request. There is indeed a question of witnesses' credibility.
But if Lamour can't testify, then we don't have a chance of proving Machi's innocence.
Its cross-examination is over. Prosecutor Gavin, you may continue making your case.
Whatever the hell that says. Dank. Now, where were we? Ah, yes, I would like to hear from the Farlane detective again. Wait, let me hear Lamoir's testimony one last time.
But the cross-examination is already over. Until such a time as the need arises, this witness may leave the stand.
I'm sorry I could not be of more assistance. Oh dear. At last, back to the real trial. Ready, Herr Forehead? I hope I didn't just miss my only chance. Fraulein detective, how far have we gotten until we were so rudely interrupted? Don't ask me. I dislike saying the same thing twice, and I never repeat a song for an encore.
If you would, Miss Skye.
I believe I was saying that the only way Mr. Latouche's killer could have escaped was through the air vent on the ceiling.
Ah, yes, there was only one door in that room, and a witness, you, were standing in front of it.
That air vent isn't very big, see? Kind of limits the people who could possibly get through.
I certainly would have risked time.
You sure would. Not that you would have been there in the first place, though. Remember, the whole backstage area was off limits to people not involved in the concert. The only one who meets the conditions for our killer is the defendant. A virtuoso performance, I could have put it better myself.
He does state a clear case. Though reading the report, something caught my eye.
Oh, what's that?
The circumstances of the defendant's arrest.
Circumstances? Again? Hey, that's right, Apollo. Remember when we found Machi? That was bizarre. She's right. Why did Miss Latouche's body disappear from the room and end up on top of that stage tower, holding a guitar no less? A protective's observation, Herr Judge.
Thanks. It was kind of an accident, really. But you work in this job long enough. You get to know these things.
The judge sure seems pleased with himself. Very good, Farlane detective. Perhaps you can tie it all together for us. Why was the body moved? And how does that lead us to the killer? They believe a child, 14 years old, very slim, moved his body, then passed out on the top of stage, and also wielded a big-ass gun. What kind of trial is this? I believe Machi stole the body because of some lyrics. He moved the body to match the Lamour's song. No one in this country had a motive to kill the victim, and Machi practically left his signature at the scene. All of this evidence clearly points to the defendant. Emma, shut up! I'm joking, I love Emma, but shut up! Chatting shit. Lamour's song? Yes, the Guitar Serenade. You noticed it's code 2, did you not? It's code? All the events that day followed the lyrics to our song. First, the keys my heart held onto so tightly were stolen. Then Prosecutor Gavin's guitar burst into flames on stage. Mr. Miletus's life was taken by a bullet. The rest hardly needs explanation. Guitar, up together to the sky.
That's mad. It's like a story out of some fairy tale.
I admit I'd forgotten about the song, but there is now waiting for me, the grand finale, as it were. Hey, I was the one who first noticed that.
I've heard enough.
Oh.
I've heard of jumping rope to songs and counting to songs, but kidding.
It's a wild world out there, Herr Judge.
Very well. We've heard one song and dance. Let's get on to this next cross-examination.
I'm not so sure I'm going to be doing much singing. We want to hear you sing, Apollo. Oh, Lord. How would he have done that? Who would see the body just to match some lyrics? I didn't believe it myself, but it can't be just a coincidence. And as Fraulein Detective says, let us begin with the first verse, if you would, Fraulein Detective. What? You want me to sing it? You are the witness, Jacques. Or do you want me to sing? I warn you, my fee as vocalist is not trivial. Fine. Let's look at the first part of the lyric, shall we? Now, Emma's gonna sing. When you stole away the keys, my heart held onto so tight. Indeed, my favourite heart-shaped keys ring was stolen every morning. Next, we go to the right page of the lyric sheet, where we find burning on in my heart fire, burn my love away, all away. As we know, Prosecutor Gavin's guitar burst into flame. Like a bullet of love fire, taking my life away, all away. Mr. Latuche's life was taken by a bullet. Bravo, Fraulein Detective, your singing is not bad. Now for the finale. Guitar, up together to the sky. As it says in the lyrics, Mr. Latouche was found with a guitar high in the sky over the stage. No series of coincidences could be so well conceived. He's right, scientifically speaking. What would Bucky have said? That concert was whack! It's hard to argue when she pulls her heart into it like that. Anyway, the shooter... Does the prosecution have any idea why you do all this? You want my scientific opinion? No clue. But he clearly had a reason to go through all that trouble, some deep reason. A deep reason? Yeah, baby. Not only did he steal my keys, he torched my guitar. Unforgivable acts, even if he had a reason, and worse if he had none. The deepest complaints aside, I can't imagine someone doing this on just a whim. Fraulein Detective, I take offense at that description.
Indeed, it does seem to well rehearsed, shall we say.
Yes, this crime was planned for sure. No one in this country had a motive to kill the victim, and Machi practically left his signature at the scene. All of this evidence clearly points to the defendant. But Mr. Latouche spoke English. He may have come to this country before. I looked into that, I assure you. Oh. It was his first time in the country, it seems. Apparently he learned English on his own. Great. You see, no one here had a motive to kill him, and certainly none in such an elaborate fashion.
It does seem difficult to imagine.
Unless our famous prosecutor did it as a publicity stunt. What did you say?
Prosecutor Gavin, you needed to promote your song.
Did I? Oh shit! He's like, for real? Of course not, and I am quite dismayed by the ludicrous nature of her claim. Why would I need promotion? Everyone already listens to my music. They're even in my textbooks at school. And I'd never heard of them. What does that say about me? I was just kidding. Don't get all worked up, Glimmer Boy.
Hold it!
What signature? What do you mean by this signature? The bullet holes in the wall, of course. The bullet holes? The revolver was fired twice. One shot missed and left a hole in the wall.
And that means what, exactly?
That dressing room isn't exactly spacious. Picture the shooter facing off with the victim in there. They can't have been more than 5 feet apart. It would have been difficult, almost impossible to miss at that range.
Difficult to miss, you say?
Very. Assuming the shooter could properly aim. No, you can't be serious. Monty, he can't see. That's why he missed. It's the only explanation that makes sense. He used sound and upper senses to fire the gun. Poorly. That reminds me, the monitor in the room was blaring at that time, Ja. Hardly ideal conditions for tracking by sound.
Blind shooter? No wonder he missed.
I knew those bullet holes would come back to haunt me. Think, Justice, what do I do now? Object. Sure, there are bullet holes left in the wall. But that doesn't prove the shooter couldn't see. Oh, how so? Well, there could have been a struggle with the victim.
That's certainly possible.
And it might have been the revolver's fault.
The revolver? The revolver...
Oh shit. The revolver was a very large caliber, correct?
If the shooter wasn't used to firing such a large weapon, why would he dislocate their shoulder?
Exactly. The defendant Mashi Tabaye is, as you can see, tiny. It's not so hard to picture him firing the gun and missing entirely. The kickback alone would throw him off his aim.
A convincing argument for sure.
Haha, take that, smug prosecution. Apollo? Huh? What? That bit about Machi being tiny and the gun throwing off his aim? Aren't you kind of, admitting that he did it? Oh. It does not matter why he missed. What matters is that the shooter was, without a doubt, the defendant. Even the defendant seems to agree on that point. You're... Cripes, I really put my foot in it this time. But let's get the facts of the matter on a record. If you would, Fraulein Detective.
Very well, the witness and this testimony.
Right. Right. Yeah. From the state of the crime scene, I conclude the shooter was blind.
Objection!
I object.
I object. The prosecution holds that the shooter couldn't see. A scientific conclusion based on a thorough examination of the crime scene, yes. Apparently not thorough enough. I have certain pieces of evidence that completely overturns your claim. What? Javier's just like, huh? Smiling. This is that evidence.
The photograph of the crime scene.
I don't care much for the smirk on Prosecutor Gavin's face, but this is no time to think twice. Time to press on. Yes, Your Honor, the crime scene. There is something in here that decisively contradicts the prosecution's point. Then perhaps you best show us something. Get your finger out of the breeze and put it into the juice, yeah?
Very well, show us what we're talking about, Mr. Justice. The contradiction at the scene of the crime is...
This. The contradiction is right here. Smeared bloodstains.
I thought it was just my blurry vision. But it really was blurry. The way the victim's hand is raised above his head, much like a gesture I have seen many times in this court.
It's almost as if he wrote something. Aha, I get it. At least I think I get it. Get what, Fraulein? When Mr. Latif was shot, he tried to write something. And what would he write but the shooter's name? And what would he write but his own blood? Pretty good, huh? Thanks for making my point for me. Yes, in fact, that's what I think happened here.
That does seem to be a distinct possibility.
The victim wrote the killer's name. It's certainly a logical explanation. Conclusion. Drat, I just wish it wasn't all rubbed out like that.
Of course it's rubbed out. Why, if I were a killer? I certainly wouldn't want to leave my own name behind.
Neither would I. No one has anything else to say?
About what?
So the prosecution accepts this? You agree this wasn't the victim making an attempt to record the name of the killer? And that the killer tried to rub the name out? What's your point? What's my point? Let me ask you this. How did the killer know the victim was writing their name? Well, Mr. Latisse was writing something in blood. Once the killer saw what it was... Wait.
Once he saw what it was?
But what did you just testify about the shooter? I said they were blind.
Ah!
Yeah, the crime scene itself contradicts that. The killer had to have been able to see. Why would they rub out the name in blood otherwise? May I remind the court that the defendant Mati Tabai is blind. He couldn't have been the shooter. Impossible!
Order! Order! Prosecutor Gavin, please explain to me what it all means. I mean, looking at this photo, it seems quite clear that the shooter couldn't see. Yet, up till now...
It seems I owe this court an apology.
Hmm?
The Gaviners are a band with law enforcement ties, yet a murder occurred. During our concert, apparently this caused some confusion over jurisdiction. As a result, some reports were filed in an entirely timely manner. I'm not sure I like the vibe I'm getting here. Hey Apollo, look at him. Why is Prosecutor Gavin all relaxed and smiling like that? Like he knows something we don't, and he's about to tell us. I've got an idea. Let's rock with these documents. But before that, I have a question for the Fraulein detective, if I may. What? Tell me, why do you think that Machi Tabai is blind? Huh? What did he say? What are you saying? Of course he's blind. Of course. He's a blind pianist, right? So he's... Doesn't Lamoire leave him around by the hand all the time? No way. I have a report here on the defendant, Machi Tabai. According to this, Machi Tabai can see perfectly well. What? His blindness was merely a publicity ploy by those clever Borginians. He can see quite well. But you said... What did I say exactly? Herr Forehead, not once in this course of the trial have I claimed the defendant was blind. The only one who did that was the Fraulein detective. But that's a significant fact, yes. Consider, Machi Tabai sees, and he was the only one who could have fled through the air vent. I see no problems with this. But what about the bullet holes in the wall? Yes, the bullet holes. I believe Herr Forehead neatly explained those for us. He didn't miss because he couldn't see. It was the kickback from the .45 caliber revolver. A simple accident, in other words. Ah! How's that? I'm afraid your objection has flown off the full brighter skies. Ugh. This is where the real fun begins, Herr Forehead. Yar! Yar. I knew you didn't have what it took. You jerk! Just what was I in here for? Comic relief? Yeah, apologize! Oh, sorry. That's no way to apologize! He's angered to the truth now, look out.
If we can please end this bickering now.
Whatever, I'm not leaving. I can't leave like this. I'll come up with some clue to solving this case if it kills me.
But your testimony is given us enough to convict the defendant.
Ugh, please don't say that. Ahaha! Aha, what? This bloodstain? The criminal tried to wipe it off, right? That seems to be what happened, yes. We might be able to find out what was actually written here. Really? You can do that? That's right, with this. It's called luminol. Maybe you know of it. It's the chemical that reacts to blood. Ah, yes, we have done those tests yet. Ha! As if I'm going to tell you! The blood stains covered over a section of the carpet. In order to perform a blood test, that section was removed and submitted. Perhaps we should request it here in court, now. Don't clink up. Right, go for it, Apollo. Huh? I have to do the test. You just have to spray the luminol on it, simple. A chemical that reacts to blood, I've heard of this somewhere. Yeah, Luminal.
Yes, I believe an analysis is called for. Have it.
Why haven't I done this before the trial? Right? Ready. It's the easiest pie. Just press X to spring an area. Here, give it a try. The eyes of the entire court are focused on me. Apollo, your hand's shaking. Let's do this. Bro, you're just spraying. It can't be that hard. Done. What the fuck does that say? Wow, it really works. This must be the power of science. It says IPXX314206. Is that a killer's name?
Maybe it is, if the killer was a robot.
Haha, have it. So what is it? I thought those letters IPXX looked familiar. This is an Interpol ID number. Interpol? You mean the International Police Agency? Yes, most are undercover agents working to solve international crimes. But why would he write that number? Why would Mr. Latute even know a number like that? Good show, Frowling Detective. Rock on. Eh? Your Honor, we can verify this number immediately. Darien, are you dare come up to the witness stand? Darien, you heard what we need. Go check into this Interpol ID number. Sure thing, give me 30 minutes. No, give me 27.
I'm not sure what to think of all this. The prosecution's case is airtight, or so it seems. Yet, if this number is really that of an Interpol agent...
Oh, wait, I know. What if Mati Tabai is really an undercover Interpol agent? That would be a possibility.
A possibility, yes. And one that would mark him as a killer for certain.
Why did Mr. Latute know an Interpol ID number? That's what I want to know. Well, we have some time while we wait for Darien's report. Let's work on unraveling another mystery, shall we? A curious mystery concerning Mati Tabai. What are you talking about? Fraulein Detective, please accept my apologies. I received word that the defendant could, in fact, see just before the trial began. It seemed too much of a bother to tell you. You had me up until that last bit. Does this not raise a rather straightforward question? Well, sure. Why did Machi pretend he couldn't see? Exactly, it makes little sense. What do you think, Herr Forehead? Huh? Me? Machi Tabai pretended he was blind. Do you know why? How could he know? Wait, Prosecutor Gavin knows why, doesn't he? He's known from the start of the trial. He's been leading us on this whole time. Something wrong? Do you think perhaps this is all some kind of game? No, that the moment I heard that report, I knew why.
I suppose people who have sold over 1 million records really are something else.
What does that have to do with anything? There was a reason why Machi Tabai pretended to be blind, but it wasn't for his own sake. Get in the picture now? It wasn't for himself?
Well, Mr. Justice, can you present evidence that shows us why the defendant had to feign blindness?
Machi had no reason to pretend he couldn't see. Which means, no, it couldn't be. Good show, Herr Forehead. It seems you thought of something. Why can't I figure out these things on my own? I hate having to take cues from this guy. Very well, look at this. This is why he was pretending he couldn't see. Was it because of... Ooh? Science.
That is Lamour.
Lamour and Machi Tabai recall their relationship, in particular their unique arrangement over the years before visiting our country. Lamour and her pianist, they would have always walked together, she's leading him by the hand. Even when they got on stage, she would lead him to the piano. She would walk all the way over there with him. That's right, because he was blind. She led him at all times, never letting him go.
All times?
Yeah, we've just learned something that makes their arrangement peculiar indeed. Machi could see. Why did they have to keep up this act the whole time?
Well, wasn't it part of their, performance?
I think there's a simpler explanation. Machi did not need to be led by the hand at all. That can only mean one thing. Really? Really, it was all the other way around. The one who needed to be led by the hand was Lamour.
What's this? So you mean to say that Lamoire is... she's...
Yes, Your Honor, Lamoire is blind. What? What?
Order! Order! This is crazy, Prosecutor Gavin.
Is it now?
Please, there's some sanity on this madness. The defense has made an outrageous claim.
The only thing outrageous I see about the defense is his vast forehead. Yet I see it's not vast in vain this time. He's quite correct.
But that makes no sense.
Yeah, wasn't she supposed to be the landscape painter in the Sound or something? Well, since we have her here, why not ask Lamoire herself? I believe she's still in the witness waiting room. Apollo, what does this mean for our case? Don't ask me, I have no idea she couldn't see. I hadn't even imagined it up until now.
Bailiff, bring in Lamoire!
She's like, yo. Lamoire, it pains me deeply to call you before us again in this way, and yet I must. Please, do not be concerned on my behalf. Those eyes, she really can't see, really? It is true. How funny it is that a tiny lie born in the Virginian countryside would one day grow to entangle the entire world.
So you are...
Yes, as I mentioned before, I have no memory of the time before I became Lamoire. Know too that my memories begin in darkness. The word light has no meaning for Lamoire.
I see.
You may recall me saying something toward the beginning of the trial, her forehead. What's that? I believe I said it was unfortunate this crime had no direct witness. Ah. Now, Lamoire, I must ask you to stand once more. Will you testify to the court about your eyes? Of course. It was never my intent to deceive any of you. May I begin, Your Honor?
Yes, of course. Though I admit I'm a little lost here.
I think we're all a little lost here, Your Honor. My throat is killing me. I have no memory of the lights. I debuted in a world of darkness and sound. My producer came up with my PR line before he knew this. So, silly as it may sound, I had to pretend I could see. Everyone on my staff knew, of course, but no others.
But this is a murder trial.
I apologise, it was part of my contract, you see. I was to keep my blindness a secret no matter what. Music is everything for me. I never imagined something like this would. She told us the truth in the beginning, when she said she saw nothing.
Very well, does the defence have anything to add?
I'd like to cross-examine. But what is there left to ask? There was one thing in that testimony that bothered me. Perhaps it's best we let you get it out of your system. Someday you'll come to understand the importance of thinking for yourself.
Very well, the defence may proceed. However, be aware this court will not tolerate any questions deemed too stressful for the witness.
Okay. There was only one part of that bothered me. Just let me ask about that and I'll be happy. What bothered him? I don't know. Let's find out. I haven't made a mistake yet, so I'm hoping I don't. I think it's this part. Everyone on my staff knew that she was blind. Damn. I was gonna say, how did you see the crime then?
I don't see anything contradictory.
You sure about that?
Objection overruled. Try to think before you make accusations, Mr. Justice.
that didn't go so well. Yeah, I kind of just dropped the gun. When you say your staff, do you include Mr. Latouche? Of course, he was my manager. So he knew, and that's what's been bugging me. So I knew what I was trying to say. He didn't know. He said she saw him. She saw the killer, but why would he say that if she's blind?
Something the matter, Mr. Justice?
I believe I know what is bothering our young defense attorney. You were thinking of when you discovered the body, yes? Is he right, Apollo? Yes, I was. For the 5th time, I think, it feels like the 5th time, we are getting the same flashback. Oh my god. Oh my god. I don't know why it's annoying me so much that I keep having to say the same thing over and over again, but it is. Alright, we get it. Jesus. Mr. Latouche told me to ask the witness and he named you. Why would he do that? He knew you were blind. I don't know. Tisk. Or like, I don't know. Tisk. What did I just say? You need to learn to think for yourself. Meaning what? There is no mystery here if you recall everything he said. Think of his last words once more.
The witness, Siren. We've heard him many times along with a little play acting by our defense.
I remembered him well myself, but that statement is not to what I refer. I mean what he said before that. Before? What came before that? Ah! That's right, he tried to tell you. When he said can't see, he wasn't talking about himself. He was talking about the witness.
I see.
Too bad the defense did not. Very well, her forehead. Try relaxing and looking at the facts first next time.
Order!
Recall Lanoir's earlier testimony. I was on my way from the stage for the backstage exit. There were 2 shots. I couldn't do anything but to stop it.
But you couldn't have heard 2 gunshots. I thought we proved that.
That is not the most important part here. The moment he was shot, Mr. Latouche witnessed her through that window. Why else would he have named her as the witness? Ah. But I really did hear them. 2 gunshots and a man's voice. Unfortunately, such a thing was impossible. The window was closed. We've already run a simulation, of course. But it was so clear. If I heard that voice again, I would know it in an instant. In an instant.
Your Honor, what is it, bailiff? Can't you see we're in a second here?
We have the results back from the investigation.
Investigation?
Oh, here we go. The Interpol number that Mr. Latouche left us.
Well, let's hear it. We will continue this cross-examination afterward. Detective Crescent, your report, please.
Crescent? I asked Interpol about that number. I'm sure you'll find their answer intriguing. Quick work as always, Darian.
Well, tell us about the number. Is the defendant a secret agent?
RPXX 314206. The agent registered under this number was Romain Latouche. What? Our undercover Interpol agent was Mr. Latouche himself. He was apparently in the middle of an operation. So when he wrote those letters, he was trying to tell us his own identity. And the cautious killer tried to wipe him away. Mr. Latouche was an undercover Interpol agent, so him being known as a manager was just a cover, most likely. There's one other important detail I found. Oh my god. That was it. It concerns that .45 caliber revolver and murder weapon. Apparently it belonged to Romain Latouche. He had an Interpol permit to carry firearms, and the registration number on the revolver matched. So the victim was killed with his own weapon, which makes sense. It's hard to imagine someone who was an Interpol agent with such a large revolver. So the victim was an Interpol agent on the undercover op. I wonder how that ties into everything. It's got to tie in somehow, you think? Yeah, somehow.
Thanks for looking into that for us, Detective Crescent. It's a great help. Oh, no problem at all, Your Honor. I'll be heading out.
Hold it! Wait!
Lambert, is something the matter?
That voice just now. Darien? Mr. Darien, is it? It was him. I am sure of it.
It was him?
You aren't saying. That voice I heard talking to Mr. Latouche. When I heard the gunshots fired, it was him. It was Mr. Darien. Is this some kind of joke? What? No way. The courtroom fell into such a chaotic state, the trial had to be suspended temporarily. I'd never seen that happen before. Of course, it's not every day that you get an accusation like that one. Lanois fingering Darien Crescent. Not only is he a guitarist, he's a detective. Could it really have been his voice that Lanois heard? Things were changing fast, and frankly, I wasn't sure I could keep up with it. Hey, no wimping out now, Apollo! And that is the end of the first trial. Whew. What a doozy that one was. I've never used that phrase before, but here we go. And we finish again in 1 hour and 20 minutes. I'm on track here, finishing at the exact same time as last time. Well, thank you everybody for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. I think I'm getting a little bit better at doing the voices. Maybe not. But because my voice is still sore after doing it, especially the judge's voice. Damn, judge's voice kills me, but his is one of my favourites to do because I think it sounds different enough, most different out of everybody else. Anyway, that's been me, and that's been Apollo Justice, Ace Attorney Trilogy, Case 3, Trial 1, and next time we'll be doing Investigation 2, which I think is a bit more interesting than the first one. The first one's. It was okay, I just wanted to get it over and done with, but the next one's more interesting, you know. So, something to look forward to. Alright guys, see you next time. Psyche Wolf, out.